everyone, I'm Kevin Bartlett.
And I'm Kristine Strauss, and this is The Real Deal with Baird & Warner, where we cover all things real estate.
For buyers, sellers, renters, investors, and fellow agents. Before we get into our last episode of the year today, let's take a quick look at the market activity from this last weekend. On the sell side, on the listing side, we did see inventory drop again. We are going further into the winter, so that's going to happen. We are still way down in terms of inventory compared to where we were last year.
Absolutely, yeah. And on the buy side, surprisingly, the numbers actually went back up this last weekend, which is great to see that the buyer activity is still out there. Very positive for that inventory still on the market, that there are still buyers out searching. Usually around this time of year, it's typical that we'll start to see some of that activity slow down a little bit just with holidays coming up and whatnot. But, great to see that buyers are definitely still out there.
Absolutely. Last show of the year, 2020, pretty crazy year all around, real estate included. But obviously there was a lot of other things going on in 2020 as well.
Absolutely.
For the last show, Kristine and I are just going to take a look at what happened with the market this year. We're going to give our predictions for what's going to happen next year. And we always get this question around this time of year: is it a good idea to list your home during the holidays or not? So we're going to tackle that as well. So first of all, let's look back on this 2020 market.
Yeah, 2020 in review. Again, like Kevin said, what a crazy year for the real estate world. It was a buyer frenzy out there. We were seeing multiple offers, things going over list price, things being sold before they even hit the true live market. The activity was just
crazy.
Insane, totally insane. So we saw, very low inventory, but high demand for those properties, which of course was driving some of that higher pricing, multiple offers, going over list price, just snatching up that inventory as fast as buyers could.
Which was great because obviously with COVID hitting, nobody knew what was going to happen. And I don't know if anyone could have predicted the market to be this strong during a pandemic. So that was great.
Yes.
Not looking at home values or anything like that, just in general, the industry saw a big change. We went virtual. Open house regulations kicked in. You weren't allowed to have as many people in the home, so we started doing more virtual open houses, more virtual walkthroughs, things like that. So the real estate industry had to adapt, and it did.
Absolutely. Way to go, guys. You really did it.
Yeah. Now, this question gets brought up every year, not just 2020. Maybe we can look at this as more of a 2020 given what's going on with the current market. But Kristine, think about listing your home during the holidays. Is it a good idea?
So what we are seeing, just especially right now, I would say yes. Go ahead. You're still safe to put your home on the market with inventory being so low. And I think a lot of this does come down to, we have to look at what price point you're in and things like that, condition of the home. All of that, of course, goes into it. But because we have such little inventory, and like we said for our weekend update with the showings, buyers are obviously still out there. So you may have a lot less competition if you're a seller right now. Buyers are still anxious and antsy. They want to get into a home. Plus, another huge thing that sometimes people forget is we've had a lot of buyer feedback that they actually love going into homes when they are decorated for the holidays. It gives that house a much homier feel. So that is another question.
Absolutely.
Right, that's kind of coupled with that is, okay, if I'm a seller and if I have my house on the market, is it safe to maybe do some of that decorating? And to that, I would also say, yes, go right ahead.
I'm in full agreement there.
Yes.
Also, as a buyer, I know we're talking about listing during the market. If you're nervous about buying, just remember these interest rates are still historically low.
Right.
And although the inventory is low and maybe because of that the home values are a little higher, you're going to still be saving money in the long term with these rates being as low as they are.
Definitely.
So as a buyer, it's a good idea. Obviously, you would love a larger pool of homes to choose between, and we're not necessarily in that spot right now. You are saving so much money in your interest rate. If you are able to find a home that you do love, there's nothing wrong with jumping on that during the holidays.
Absolutely. Completely agree.
So, and if you do have any questions on that, please feel free to reach out to a key mortgage lender or one of us. We will point you in the right direction.
Definitely.
So, 2020 has almost come to a close.
Right, almost there.
We're coming into 2021 now, and we are already getting an overwhelming amount of questions about what is going to happen in 2021. I know we've had multiple guests on giving their takes. I am on the impression that we're going to have a strong start to the year. There is no reason why anything should change, at least at the beginning of the year.
Right.
Rates are still low, home values are still high. It should still be a strong beginning of the year, spring and summer market.
Absolutely, absolutely. I would completely agree with that. And when we've really taken a step back and when we've been able to analyze everything, a lot of arrows, like Kevin said, are really pointing to a strong 2021. So we've even heard when we've been talking with lenders that a lot of sellers are refinancing so they can then use that extra money to go towards some of those home projects that, maybe they just didn't have a chance to get to at one point or the other, and they saw how well the market did this year. So now they're feeling much more comfortable to get their home ready, over these winter months so they can really come on and hit the market strong in the spring. So that's good news for buyers too. So that way you may have
Definitely.
a little bit bigger pool of inventory to pull from there. So, maybe we'll see that market kind of balance out a little bit, but either way you look at it, it looks like we're still going to have another fantastic year.
Hopefully that's a positive news for you. So if you're on the fence about listing or buying, hopefully we have a real strong market for you to come into to start the year off.
Absolutely.
So now let's take a quick minute to hear from one of our key mortgage loan officers for a weekly mortgage minute.
Hello and welcome to the Mortgage Minute. I'm Chris Patras with Key Mortgage. Today is November 24th. We are currently experiencing very low inventory in our very competitive market. So as a buyer, I wanted to provide you with a few tips on how you can be ready to purchase, write an offer, and to have your offer stand out. So the first thing that I would suggest is being pre-approved from a local reputable lender such as Key Mortgage. This will allow the listing agent, the seller, peace of mind that you've done your due diligence and your financing is strong. So how do you prepare for obtaining a pre-approval? I would suggest you really take some time to get organized and to be prepared to provide what the lender will require. First and foremost is income. We need to verify income for 2 years, so please have your employer name, address, phone number, and your position or title and the date you started. And if you've been with your employer less than 2 years, please provide that information for your previous employer as well. If you were a student, that's completely fine. Your full-time education does count toward work history. We will more than likely need a copy of your diploma to show the dates you were in school or the date that you graduated. The other thing in terms of employment is all of your W-2s, even if you've worked part-time, all of the W-2s for 2019, maybe 2018, depending upon where you are in the time frame. But even if it's not your primary employment, please provide all W-2s so everything matches up. Also, it's good to have your tax returns available. Your lender might need those as well. And your pay stubs. And pay stubs should be the most recent that you have available, consecutive for 30 days of income. So if you're only paid twice a month, 2 pay stubs, but if you're paid every other week, then we need 3 pay stubs and so on and so forth. We need to see a complete 30 days of income. The other thing that we'll want to look at is your assets, and that's so we can show that you have adequate funds to purchase a home. Even if all of your funds are not accumulated at the present time, that's okay. Please have bank statements available to provide to your lender, and that would be the most recent for checking, savings, any investment accounts you have, or retirement. Please provide all pages. Even if the last page of your statement is blank, we don't know it's blank if we don't have the statement. So again, make sure that everything is complete and thorough. And we will be checking your credit, so that's a given. So my tip for that is to make sure that you are not having multiple inquiries, you're paying your bills on time, and if you can, it is advisable to keep your capacity at 30%. meaning whatever your charge card limits are, have the balance remain at 30% or lower. Some other tips is to keep your transfers between bank accounts at a minimum, and do not deposit any money other than your payroll, if at all possible. Again, the sooner you get pre-approved, get all the information to your lender, the better, and that will make you a more attractive buyer. Thanks for attending the Mortgage Minute.
We really appreciate all of the positive feedback and outreach that we've had from not only fellow agents, but anyone who has been listening or interacting with our podcast. So thank you all for your viewership and for supporting this. This was, something that we thought we would just try out to see how it would go, and it looks like it landed pretty well. So thank you guys for all of the support, and we really wish you a happy holiday season. And like Kevin said, this is our last episode for this season, but we'll be back in 2021. So until then, we just wish you guys a fantastic holiday and have a great start to your new year.
Yes. So thanks again for joining us. I'm Kevin Bartlett.
And I'm Kristine Strauss.
Catch us next time to hear about